In the workshop, the Diabolical model steam engine, part 10. Retapping the holes for the rocker shaft using a novel method owing to lack of space. Fitting the rocker shaft and front cylinder cover, adjusting the position of the slide valve. After about 15 hours work, will it run? Please don't hold your breath at this stage because you will possibly asphyxiate before the end of the episode. The engine is looking, well, marginally less diabolical, but it's still grim. Just for a change, I received some nasty comments from an expert viewer. Starting with, why do you always criticise other people's work? Well, just watch the video. It's really not my fault. And this viewer's second wonderful comment was, why do you always tell people not to over-tighten nuts and bolts? If this wonderful viewer had seen as many engines that I have seen and worked on with sheared off bolts stuck in holes with superglue, I really think he would not have made such a stupid comment. I just went to his YouTube channel, which not unsurprisingly said, this channel does not have any content. I'm refitting the rocking shaft, and first of all, here is a top tip. This is a good one. I've done this many times on many different jobs, but I've never shown it on a video. I need to make a quick extension for this 5BA tap, and it's quite a snug fit inside a piece of 3/16 of an inch outside diameter copper pipe. But obviously it's not going to do anything because as soon as I rotate the piece of copper pipe, the tap isn't going anywhere. Simple solution, flatten the pipe to suit the end of the tap. The piece of copper pipe is actually bent into a handle shape, so once the tap is a firm fit in the end, all I have to do is wind the handle to thread the hole. Most importantly though, I need to hit the piece of copper with a hammer while the tap is inside the copper. This makes the piece of copper tubing the same shape as the end of the tap. Sometimes I make these things out of a piece of steel bar. I drill the end and then I use a hammer in exactly the same way, but obviously I have to hit it harder, depending on the size of the tap that's been supported by the steel bar. For larger taps, I would heat the end of the steel bar until it was red and then hammer it. That makes it a lot easier. It's sort of amateur blacksmithing. Here, using my specially made tool, I'm threading the hole. I just wind the tap in, it's only brass so it's soft, and once the hole is threaded, I wind the tap out. Then I fit the bolt in place. I threaded the top part first using a standard tap with a pin vise. That held the bearing block in place, which acted as a guide for the tap that was being rotated by the piece of copper tube. I'm not going to labour this point. I'm sure even the experts must understand what I'm doing. I'm repeating the process on the one on the left-hand side. After fitting the bolt, the rocker shaft is mounted. Before I forget, it's time to apply some oil, plenty of oil. I want the whole thing floating in oil by the time I run it. The next fairly vital part of the job is to refit the front cylinder cover properly. Here it is fitted with the original bolts and it doesn't look too good. Oh dear, I've criticised someone's work again. Oh dear, oh dear. I shortened some 5BA bolts by using a pair of side cutters. Then I took them into the outer part of the workshop and cleaned up the ends on my 1-inch belt sander. Here I'm screwing them into place. I could have tapped 5 holes into a piece of steel which was the thickness of the depth of thread that I required, and then just chop them all to the same size. But no, I did it this way, it was just quicker. And in this clip you can see the 5BA bolts in their final position. Here I'm connecting the rocker shaft's linkage to the valve rod. After I've done this, I'm going to apply some air to the engine and see whether it runs. Am I confident? No. But you have to start somewhere. Everything's ready to go. First of all, I carefully turn the engine over by hand to make sure nothing is locking up, and the good news is it isn't. Then I connect the airline. And as you can see and hear, the engine is not running. There are leaks around the steam chest cover, etc., but that's not the problem. Here there are 2 obvious fundamental problems. The first one being the valve is blowing to exhaust, and the other one is it's in the wrong place. I will investigate the valve events in the next episode, but for the moment I'm going to live with it. I just need to make sure that the slide valve is in the correct place relative to the linkages. I should really remove the valve chest cover and see where the valve is relative to the ports, but I can also do it this way. Sorry about that, I just kicked the tripod. I can tell from the sound that the engine is making that there is something wrong, despite the constant blowing to exhaust. I've repositioned the setting of the slide valve and am now refitting the bolt. I don't think it's going to run very well, but it should run. That's it from me. Stay safe, stay healthy, thanks for watching, and I hope you found it useful. Please take the time to visit my main Steam Models website and click on the section of the website that says Video Playlists. And by doing that, you can find other videos that you may like to watch. And by using the playlists, you can actually watch the videos back to back.